don't think he's wearing a kilt today, but I'm not sure. Justin Fairchild. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Bart, how are you? Thank you
good to
very
see
much
you.
for having me.
So you have a bee suit on, so it's possible you could also have a kilt on, we just don't know.
No kilt today, it would be too uncomfortable in the bee suit.
Okay. All right, so we have something new in the city of Jackson. First time ever, it's No Mow May, as in mowing, lawn mowing.
Mm-hmm.
What's it all about?
So No Mow May is a program that's designed to help pollinators during their weakest month. So coming out of winter, like honeybees, they've used most of their stores, and they're trying to build up their population starting in April.
Mm-hmm.
And May, by growing on our lawns, gives them access to things like dandelions, clover, some wildflower foods that they don't normally get. It's really important for places like the city of Jackson, because when everybody mows their lawn, it basically creates this big food desert where pollinators can't get to or travel to get food within their native habitats.
So the rules for those in the city of Jackson are that they can let their backyards just go for the month of May.
Yep, you can let your backyards grow, just not longer than 8 inches. You can have that going from the 1st to the 31st. At June 1st, they need to be mowed again like the regular season.
But front yards, they have to keep them looking fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Front yards still have to be mowed and pristine.
Now, we have so many fields and woods and everything. How important is it? How much of an impact would people not mowing the backyard make for the pollinators?
It makes a huge impact,
Really?
especially, like I said, those food sources, the first ones out. For the year, they have to be there, otherwise they won't be able to have a strong colony going into the summer and late spring. And it's really, really impactful for agriculture. The more pollinators you have around, the more flowers, more produce, the better quality of those products, just from having pollinators get to them.
And bees, I think of bees as pollinators. Are there others?
Bees, butterflies, moths, they're all
Really?
pollinators. Yep.
All right, so when they're dancing around on things like dandelions, they're working.
Yep, exactly. Dandelions are their primary first food source. One of the reasons we do that slide is just to show you that there's a lot of benefits to dandelions, even if you have them in your yard. You can use the leaves in salads, you can fry the heads like tempura style. The roots make really good tea. A lot of people will make like dandelion jellies, jams, or wine.
Okay, I've heard of dandelion wine.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you eaten dandelions?
I've had fried dandelion heads.
So there's all those ways you can eat in a salad.
Mm-hmm.
So the yellow part, they turn from yellow. What's the process where they turn from yellow into the fuzz?
So they turn from yellow, and then once they go to seed, that's when you get the fuzz that spreads them out throughout the area. But I try to make sure people go to seed, because for me, the more dandelions, the better. And a lot of people will spray their dandelions in their yard, but there's really no need to do that. It's more beneficial than harmful.
They think they're weeds.
Mm-hmm.
Are they technically a weed?
They're technically a weed, but it's one of those weeds we can get a lot of resources from.
And clover, that's
Mm-hmm.
another one I see that, pops up on lawns.
Mm-hmm. Clover's a big one. That's some of the tastiest honey you can get is all clover honey.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep.
Oh, so that's where that comes from. So the source of their pollen, right,
Mm-hmm.
is what affects the flavor of the honey?
Exactly.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if you go through, Jackson is actually really big for beekeepers. There's 2 beekeeping supply stores. But if you get different jars of raw honey from different beekeepers, they're going to have different flavors. Like mine, I keep everything down to the hive. So we do small batch honey.
Mm-hmm.
So each hive will have their own flavors, just depending on what the bees got into.
And it's that noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So we have had that collapse of the bee population a few years ago. Are we rebuilding? Are we in a good place as far as the bee population?
I would say we are on the incoming part of a U graph. So they've dropped about 70% over the last 20 years. But a lot more people are picking up beekeeping now that they realize with climate change and the struggles people are going through, and even just as a new hobby, which is helping improve those population numbers.
And it seems like, as you said, Jackson's a big beekeeping town.
Mm-hmm.
We've got two beekeeping stores, and it's a community. There's, I know there's classes. I think you give classes.
Yep, we do. I do an Adopt a Hive program where we do, people can adopt hive and they can come out and learn about beekeeping, how to beekeep. If they want to start their own apiaries at home, we kind of go through the beginner's course of how, what, when, where, to help people get into it.
And are there different kinds of bees? Like, does Jackson have a certain kind of bee?
Honeybees are actually non-native to America. Most of the bees we get are like European. We get a lot of European honeybees, German bees.
How did things get pollinated before?
Different, like butterflies, wasps, yellow jackets. Even though we look at those things as aggressive, they are, they still pollinate.
Where are bees at in the season right now? Are they new babies? Where?
So right now we're getting a lot of new baby bees. The populations in hives tend to be exploding this time of year. You get a lot of bee swarms. Swarm is where the population in a hive is too much, so the old queen will take half of those bees and move to a new spot. And the new queen that they've started rearing will then take over the old hive.
And then you have hives. These are artificially built things, structures.
Yep.
Where do the bees, when there's not something like in your farm?
So if you don't have a hive or basically beehives to put the swarms into, they'll find either old beehive nests in trees. Sometimes they'll find people's holes in people's houses. I've had to go around and I've had 2 cutouts this year where we go to the home. We have to cut a hole in the wall and pull all the comb and the bees off.
Oh, I've seen that. Ellis Sharp Museum. They had bees in their attic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So we go through, we do the cutout, we pull the bees, and we rehome them to one of the hives. Swarms are a little easier, just because they aren't built into anything. You don't have to worry about eggs.
And they're not dangerous. Like a swarm of bees, they're not going to carry away a small child.
No, typically as long as you leave them alone, they leave you alone.
Okay.
I've got videos on there.
You sent us some photos. This is the result of the pollination of flowers.
Yeah. Bees and pollinators, the more there are in the area, the more impact they'll have. Things like produce, flowers, if you have a lot of pollinators in the area, you're going to have more flowers, more produce, and it's also going to be a better quality product than if you don't have any pollinators around.
Nice. So what's happening at the Kilted Farmers farm right now?
So right now we are gearing up for, we're doing splits on our hives. So any of the hives that have gotten kind of overpopulated, we split those manually so they can create a new hive. So we're building up our numbers. We're trying to catch swarms to build up and fill all our adopt a hives, because we don't buy bees from out of state. We try to keep everything as local as possible. So we get a lot of our bees from wild bees in the area.
All right, so in the city of Jackson, where there is grass code appearance rules, you don't have to mow. You can let your backyard go, but outside of Jackson, people can observe No Mow May as well.
Yeah, they could do it year round if they want to. I tend to mow lawn around once a month.
Okay.
Well, I'll give everything, the clover, everything a chance to flower, and then we mow it down, and then it builds back up. We give it a chance to flower. That gives the bees a constant nectar supply. So instead of going through Darth, which is like a dry season, where they're not getting a lot of new bloomage, with those reoccurring increased lawn lengths and constant flower supply, it gives them a lot of help.
And your Saturdays are free from mowing.
Exactly.
Nap time.
A little bit less work for you to do.
All right, thank you so much, Justin. Nice to see you.
Hey, we appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
The Kilted farmer, Justin Fairchild. Well, that is it. We've run